Ronan Vale stared at the blinking holographic ad floating above his cramped freighter cockpit. Space station for 1 credit. Sirian 7 orbit. Everyone else in the Andralis sector had passed it by. Rusted. Abandoned. Useless. But Ronan didn't care about appearances. Most humans saw risk. He saw opportunity. The freighter shook as he punched coordinates into the navigation system. Stars stretched and warped as faster-than-light engines kicked in. He gripped the console, tension coiling in his chest. 1 credit. That's all it cost, yet no price could measure the challenge that waited. He had no idea what he would find, and that was part of the thrill. The station appeared slowly through the viewport. A jagged silhouette against Sirian 7's pale blue atmosphere. Metal plates hung loose from its hull, docking arms twisted, windows blacked out. Even from a distance, the hum of dormant energy tickled the edge of perception. Ronan felt his pulse quicken. He knew nothing about the station's origin, its purpose, or the dangers inside, but he had always thrived in the unknown. Docking wasn't easy. The station's docking clamps were brittle, some nearly falling off. Ronan adjusted thrust again and again, sweat beading on his forehead. Each movement had to be precise. Too fast and the fragile connectors would shatter. Too slow, and the station's unstable orbit could pull him into the planet's gravity well. His hands flew over the controls. After 3 tense minutes, the freighter shuddered and latched. He exhaled sharply. 1 step closer and already the risk had tested him. Inside, the station smelled of old metal and recycled air. Panels were scorched, corridors dim, emergency lights flickering. Shadows stretched unnaturally over walls carved with alien glyphs. Ronan moved carefully, boots clanging against the floor. Every step felt like a trespass into history. His heart raced. What was left behind? He wondered. Was it a lab? A home? Or something alive? He reached the central chamber where a massive containment unit sat. It looked dormant, sealed with alien locks that flickered faintly with residual energy. A shiver ran down his spine. The room pulsed subtly, almost like a heartbeat. He pressed a gloved hand to the surface. A tingling energy ran through his fingers. The air vibrated. Whatever this was, it was powerful and fragile. Ronan pulled a scanner from his belt. Lines of code and alien energy readings danced on the display. He frowned. The containment unit wasn't just a storage space. It had sensors, life support functions, and environmental controls running silently for centuries. Someone, or something, had designed this to last. And now it was in his hands. He knelt, inspecting the control panel. Alien symbols glowed faintly. His training as an engineer kicked in. He didn't know the language, but patterns made sense. He traced lines, touched circuits, rerouted minor power flows. Slowly he began to understand the logic. Every step was a delicate balance. One wrong move could trigger a failsafe or collapse the entire chamber. His pulse thumped in rhythm with a faint hum beneath his fingertips. Hours passed. Ronan barely noticed. He ate a single protein bar, barely stopping to drink recycled water. Sweat streaked his face under the dim lighting. Every moment was a puzzle, every small adjustment a gamble. But he didn't stop. Humans were like this. When faced with the impossible, they adapted, thought, and persisted. That stubborn determination had carried humanity across stars. And now it would carry him here too. Then something unexpected happened. A soft vibration ran through the floor, gentle at first, then stronger. The containment unit's lights flickered. Ronan froze. He checked the readings. The energy signature inside the unit was rising. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, a shadow moved inside the containment chamber. Something alive, or at least not dead, was stirring. His eyes widened, a mix of awe and fear. The station's silence was broken by a low hum, almost a voice in the back of his mind. Not words but thought, intent. Ronan swallowed hard. He realized that this wasn't just abandoned tech. Whatever lay inside had been waiting. Waiting for someone, or something, to understand it, to care enough to keep it alive. Ronan's heart pounded. 1 credit had bought him a station, but it had also bought him responsibility for whatever ancient life slept in the containment unit. And with responsibility came danger. He didn't know what he was up against or if he could survive it. All he knew was that turning back wasn't an option. Humans didn't run from the unknown, they mastered it. He took a deep breath and prepared to unlock the chamber further. Tools in hand, mind sharp, he stepped closer. The faint glow pulsed stronger as if recognizing him. And then, just as his fingers touched the final seal, the station shuddered. A panel sparked, alarms flickered weakly, and the hum deepened. Ronan realized, with a mix of exhilaration and dread, that the real challenge was only beginning. What he would find inside might change everything. The containment unit hissed as its final seal cracked, revealing a faint, swirling light. Ronan stepped back, shielding his eyes. Inside, floating in zero gravity, was a cluster of strange, bioluminescent shapes. They moved slowly, almost like plants but with subtle, animal-like gestures. Their veins pulsed with pale blue energy, feeding from the station's long-dormant power. Ronan's chest tightened. He had never seen anything like this. Alien life, preserved for centuries, waiting silently in the cold vacuum. His mind raced. These beings weren't dangerous, at least not yet, but they were delicate. One wrong move and he could destroy them, undoing centuries of survival. He knelt beside the control panel again, fingers flying over alien keys. Each press brought new holograms, new symbols, and new warnings. The station's AI, or what was left of it, was fragile, partially corrupted by time. He had to decipher the patterns carefully. Every misstep could overload the system or trigger an irreversible lock. Hours passed in tense silence. Ronan ate little, drank little, focused only on keeping the creatures alive. He rerouted energy from damaged sections, stabilizing the containment unit. He carefully balanced the temperature, pressure, and energy flow, watching the floating lifeforms react. One of them, a small orb-like creature, drifted close to his hand, its glow intensifying. He froze. It wasn't aggressive. It seemed curious, recognizing him as more than a threat. Then the station groaned. Structural panels shifted, dust falling in slow arcs. A low vibration ran through the floor. Ronan's pulse quickened. He had felt this before, a warning from the station itself. The systems were unstable. If he didn't act quickly, the containment unit could fail and the creatures would die. He worked faster. Using his freighter's auxiliary power, he patched damaged circuits, creating temporary energy loops. Sparks flew from exposed panels. The station's emergency lights flickered red, then white, then blue. The hum inside the chamber rose to a resonance that made the hair on his arms stand up. Ronan realized the station wasn't just a storage unit, it was alive in some way, a living network of systems designed to protect life at all costs. And yet, centuries of neglect had left it weak, vulnerable. Humans had to survive by thinking, adapting, and taking risks. He had no choice but to intervene. A sudden jolt shook the station. Something crashed against a wall, sending sparks flying. One of the life forms spun violently, energy surging through its veins. Ronan's heart leapt. The containment unit's stability was failing. He grabbed a floating cable and rerouted it to bypass a damaged circuit. Sweat poured down his face as he worked, nerves taut. Every second counted. The bioluminescent creatures drifted closer, almost as if sensing his determination. They were small, fragile, and beautiful, yet completely dependent on him now. The thought weighed on Ronan. This was life entrusted to a human, alone and inexperienced, far from any help. The responsibility was terrifying, but exhilarating. He had faced impossible odds before. Humans thrived on challenges like this. He activated a makeshift interface he had improvised from old consoles and ship components. Symbols on the holographic panel rearranged themselves in response to his commands. The containment unit hummed, stabilized, and the vibrations eased. One of the creatures floated directly in front of him, almost acknowledging his success. Ronan exhaled, a mixture of relief and awe flooding him. But just as he allowed himself a brief moment of pride, the station shuddered again. A loud metallic groan echoed through the corridors. Panels cracked and the airlock doors banged. The hum inside the containment chamber became erratic, almost screaming. Ronan's stomach dropped. Something else was happening, something he hadn't anticipated. He checked the energy readings. A dormant power core, deep in the station's hull, had begun to surge. It wasn't stable. If it overloaded, the containment unit and everything inside would be destroyed. His mind raced. He needed a solution fast. There was no manual, no guide, no guarantee. He was human against alien engineering far beyond his experience. Ronan's jaw clenched. Fear and determination fought for dominance in his chest. Humans survived not because they were strongest, but because they refused to give up when odds were against them. He grabbed a wrench and a floating conduit, preparing to reroute the core manually. Sparks flew as he pried open a hatch, exposing the glowing core. The creatures hovered close, sensing the danger. He spoke to them softly, though he knew they didn't understand. We survived together. Time slowed. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and the station would collapse. Ronan's hands shook, but he focused. He rerouted power carefully, using makeshift insulation to prevent shorts. The core hummed violently, but gradually, its pulse steadied. The containment unit glowed steadily again, the creatures floating serenely in zero gravity. Ronan sank to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. His body trembled, but his mind was sharp. He had stabilized the station and saved the creatures, for now. But he knew this was only the beginning. The station held secrets beyond his understanding. The dormant life he had just awakened was only a glimpse of the mysteries hidden inside. As he caught his breath, the station shuddered one final time. From deep within its hull came a low, resonant vibration, a sound that almost felt like a heartbeat. Ronan's eyes widened. Whatever had been sleeping for centuries was now aware of him. And it was waiting for him to take the next step. He stared at the containment unit, glowing softly in the dim light. 1 credit had bought him a station. But the real journey, the one that could change everything, was just beginning. Ronan Vale floated in the dim glow of the containment chamber, staring at the pulsing creatures. The station hummed around him, its systems flickering and groaning after the recent surge. He knew he had stabilized the unit, but the rest of the station was still fragile. One wrong step, one miscalculation, and everything could collapse. Yet retreat was not an option. Humans thrived when they adapted, and Ronan had never been a quitter. He returned to the central console, scanning the alien interface. Every panel, every symbol held instructions written in a language he didn't know. But patterns existed, and Ronan had learned to read them. He traced energy flows, recalculated circuits, and rerouted failing conduits. Sweat ran down his face, but his hands were steady. Every adjustment mattered. Too much power could overload the containment unit, too little, and the creatures would starve. Then came the drones. At first they were dormant, just small metal shapes clinging to the walls. But as Ronan rerouted power, the station recognized him as an intruder. The drones sprang to life, buzzing with mechanical precision, aiming to eliminate the threat. Ronan froze for a fraction of a second. He had no weapons, no allies, only his ingenuity. He grabbed a magnetic coil from his toolkit and flung it toward the nearest drone. It collided mid-air, sending sparks cascading down the corridor. The drone spun out of control, its sensors scrambled. Ronan worked fast, improvising a trap using the station's own energy fields. He guided the drones into loops, confusing their targeting systems. For hours, he danced between circuits and drones, human wits against alien precision. Even as he worked, he studied the creatures. They drifted close, almost as if sensing his determination. Their movements were delicate, synchronized with the station's failing systems. Ronan realized that this wasn't just life, this was intelligence. They had adapted to survive centuries in zero gravity, relying on the station for sustenance. If the station failed, they would die instantly. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him. One human, against the remnants of an alien civilization, tasked with preserving life that no one else could save. Ronan made quick calculations and rerouted auxiliary power from his freighter to reinforce the containment unit. Sparks flew and alarms blared, but the creature's glow intensified as if responding to his efforts. He felt a strange connection to them, a bond between species across centuries. Humans were capable of empathy, he realized, even in the void of space. That empathy, paired with courage and intelligence, could change outcomes where brute force would fail. A sudden shudder ran through the station. Ronan's stomach dropped. The power core deep in the hull was unstable again. He had patched it before, but time and the station's age were working against him. Panels creaked and warped. A low vibration ran through the floor. He raced to the core, tools in hand. Sparks leapt from exposed conduits, and his suit reflected red flashes from warning lights. He assessed the situation quickly. The energy spike was building too fast for automated rerouting. Only a manual fix could prevent disaster. Ronan gritted his teeth and opened the protective panel, exposing the core. The energy inside pulsed violently, thrumming like a living thing. He connected insulated cables, rerouted failing circuits, and manually adjusted stabilizers. Every second was critical. A single misstep could destroy the containment unit and kill the life inside. For a long minute, nothing happened. The core hummed, threatening, alive with destructive energy. Then, slowly, the pulse began to steady. The containment unit's glow normalized. The creatures floated serenely once more, safe for now. Ronan sank to the floor, exhausted, sweat and grime coating his face. His muscles ached, but his mind was alive with adrenaline and pride. Humans had survived worse. He had survived worse. Yet there was no time to rest. The station's data nodes flickered, revealing fragments of the alien research. It had been a sanctuary, a living archive of endangered species from across galaxies. The aliens who built it had vanished, leaving their work to decay, trusting in technology that now depended on him. Ronan's eyes widened as he scrolled through holographic records. Species preserved, experiments in life support, genetic archives. He realized that humans could do more than survive. They could inherit, adapt, and continue the work of civilizations far older and wiser. A sudden vibration echoed through the chamber. The containment unit responded. One of the creatures floated to the center, its veins glowing brighter, almost in recognition. Ronan's heart skipped. The station was alive, reacting to him. The line between man and machine, human and alien, was thinner than he thought. He could sense the trust, or at least the awareness, of something ancient watching him, testing his resolve. Then a new alarm sounded, different from the others. He rushed to the console and traced the source. A side chamber, long sealed, had begun to vent energy. Something inside was awakening. Ronan's pulse raced. This wasn't part of the original plan. Whatever was there could be hostile, or it could hold answers to the mysteries of the station. Either way, ignoring it was not an option. Ronan swallowed hard and prepared to move. Humans thrived not by avoiding danger but by confronting it. With careful steps, he floated toward the venting chamber, tools at the ready, eyes fixed on the soft glow emanating from inside. Whatever awaited him, he would meet it head-on. He was human. He could adapt. He could survive. And he would protect the fragile life entrusted to him, no matter the cost. As he approached the chamber, a shadow shifted inside the glow. It moved quickly, impossibly fast, and Ronan froze. For the first time he felt the full weight of uncertainty. The creatures he had saved, the fragile systems he had stabilized, everything depended on his next move. One wrong step could doom them all. His heart pounded. He gritted his teeth and reached forward. Whatever was inside, he would face it. Humans didn't back down. Humans didn't give up. And Ronan Vale was about to prove it, against technology, against the unknown, against the impossible. Ronan floated closer to the venting chamber, heart hammering. The glow inside pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. He adjusted his gloves, tightened his harness, and took a deep breath. Whatever was inside, it had awakened after centuries of silence. And whatever it was, it had noticed him. The moment his hand brushed the control panel, alarms blared louder than ever. The station's dormant defense drones, sensing movement in the venting chamber, activated en masse. They darted from walls and ceilings, sharp claws and energy emitters aimed directly at him. Ronan's stomach dropped. He had expected challenges, but not this, an entire swarm ready to attack. He thought fast. Humans survived impossible odds through courage and creativity. Weapons weren't his option, but brains were. He flipped switches, rerouted energy lines, and activated a series of magnetic fields. The drones veered off, trapped in loops, colliding with walls but unharmed. Sparks flew, and the station groaned under the strain, but he had bought himself precious seconds. The venting chamber door creaked open. Inside, a creature hovered. It was massive, with translucent limbs and a soft inner glow that shifted colors like liquid fire. Its eyes, or something like eyes, fixed on him. Ronan froze, awe and fear warring in his chest. The alien wasn't aggressive yet, but it radiated awareness, intelligence, and a history he could barely imagine. Every instinct told him to retreat. Every instinct told him to step forward. He chose the latter. Slowly he extended a hand. The creature's glow intensified. The drones still buzzed around, trapped but aggressive. Ronan realized he couldn't just defend himself. He had to understand it, to communicate through observation and action. He mimicked its movements, slowly mirroring the pulsing of its limbs. A strange resonance filled the chamber. The creature paused, then tilted slightly as if acknowledging him. But the station was failing. Energy readings spiked again. The containment unit pulsed wildly, and the venting chamber threatened to collapse. Ronan had no time for hesitation. He rushed to the main conduit, calculating his moves down to the millisecond. Sparks flew, alarms shrieked, and the drones buzzed dangerously close. Every decision carried immense risk. One wrong reroute, one misstep, and the life forms he had fought so hard to protect would be lost. Ronan grabbed insulated tools and rewired the conduit manually. His hands shook, sweat stinging his eyes, but he ignored the pain. Humans didn't flinch in the face of uncertainty. They adapted. He balanced energy flows, stabilized the chamber, and rerouted power to keep both the containment unit and the awakened creature alive. Slowly, the station systems began to respond to him, almost as if they recognized his determination. The creature moved closer, hovering in midair, its bioluminescence brighter than before. It pulsed in harmony with the containment unit. Ronan realized that the station and the lifeforms were interconnected, a delicate ecosystem where one element affected the others. If he failed, all would be lost. If he succeeded, humanity could claim a victory that no other species had achieved, the preservation of life far beyond its own home world. Suddenly, a panel exploded near the conduit, sending a shower of sparks across the chamber. Ronan dove to the side, narrowly avoiding injury. The drones, now partially freed from their loops, swarmed him. His mind raced. Improvisation was the only way forward. He grabbed floating energy cells and flung them strategically, creating a temporary electromagnetic pulse. The drones froze, suspended midair, giving him just enough time to finish the rerouting. The hum of the station changed. The energy reading stabilized. The venting stopped. The containment unit's glow steadied. And the alien creature floated closer, almost like it was expressing gratitude or recognition. Ronan exhaled deeply, shoulders slumping in relief. He had done it. Against every impossibility, against every expectation, he had protected the fragile life entrusted to him. But he didn't relax completely. The station had secrets yet to reveal. This creature was only one of many, and the venting chamber had awakened something far older and more powerful. Ronan's mind churned with questions. Why was this station abandoned? Who built it? And what other life forms lay dormant, waiting for someone to understand and protect them? He floated to the central console, scanning data that had remained unreadable until now. Streams of alien information unfolded, blueprints, genetic codes, and survival algorithms spanning centuries. The station wasn't just a laboratory, it was a living archive, preserving life forms the galaxy had forgotten. And humanity, through one man's courage and ingenuity, had just gained access to it. Ronan felt a rush of pride mixed with apprehension. One human had stabilized centuries of alien technology, saved unknown life, and proven that determination and intelligence could overcome forces far beyond his comprehension. The responsibility weighed heavily on him, but it also filled him with purpose. This was humanity at its finest, clever, courageous, and unyielding. Then another vibration shook the station. The glow in the venting chamber pulsed differently now, faster, more rhythmic. Something deeper inside the station had sensed the recent energy surges. Ronan's stomach tightened. Whatever it was, it had awakened fully. He had survived the first wave, but the real test, the one that could define the fate of this station and its inhabitants, was just beginning. Ronan's jaw tightened. Humans thrived when the odds were impossible, when danger seemed insurmountable, when courage mattered more than strength. He squared his shoulders, gripping his tools, and floated toward the inner corridors. Whatever awaited him, he would meet it head-on. He was human, alone but unyielding. And the station, with all its mysteries, was about to see what humanity was truly capable of. Ronan floated through the station, exhaustion pressing down on him, but a spark of triumph burned brighter than fatigue. The venting chamber had calmed, the containment unit's glow was steady, and the alien life forms drifted serenely in zero gravity. He had survived drones, failing systems, and centuries-old alien safeguards. For a single human, he had accomplished what no one else could. Yet the weight of responsibility still pressed on him. He moved from chamber to chamber, inspecting systems, ensuring the creature's environment remained stable. The station had become more than a relic, it was a sanctuary. A living archive of life preserved across galaxies. Every panel he repaired, every conduit he stabilized, was another act of stewardship. Humans were not conquerors here, they were protectors. He paused in the central chamber, staring at the bioluminescent creatures. They floated in intricate patterns, almost like a choreographed dance, their veins pulsing with life. One of the larger orbs drifted closer, its glow brightening as if recognizing him. Ronan smiled, feeling a deep, unspoken connection. He had saved them, yes, but in doing so he had also proven something about humanity. Courage, ingenuity, and compassion were not just words. They were actions that could bend the impossible to the human will. Then the station shuddered gently, not in warning but in acknowledgement. Its systems, once fractured and dormant, now responded to his presence. Light stabilized, energy flows balanced, and the hum softened into a harmonious rhythm. It was as if the station itself recognized its new guardian. Ronan felt a surge of awe. Humans had arrived at the edge of the galaxy, alone, underestimated, and yet, here they were, capable of preserving life the universe had long abandoned. Ronan accessed the station's archives again, exploring its alien databases. Images, diagrams, and records revealed more than just life forms. They showed civilizations that had tried and failed to safeguard the galaxy's diversity. The station had been their last hope. And now, a human had succeeded where eons of alien knowledge had faltered. He felt pride swelling in his chest, but also humility. One human had inherited centuries of responsibility, and he could not falter. A soft chime sounded from the station's interface. A message, long dormant, flickered to life. Guardian recognized. Ronan's eyes widened. It was not a warning, not a threat, but a recognition. The station had acknowledged him, the first human to prove capable of understanding and protecting its legacy. He felt a strange mix of wonder and fear. The creatures he had saved were safe, yes, but the station had secrets yet to reveal. Secrets that only humanity, with its combination of courage and curiosity, could uncover. He moved to the observation deck, looking down at Sirian 7. The pale blue planet spun silently below, indifferent to human presence. And yet, humans had made their mark, not through domination but through determination and respect. He reflected on his journey. One credit, one derelict station, and the choices of a single human had altered the fate of life preserved for centuries. The smallness of it all made the achievement feel monumental. A warning panel blinked suddenly and Ronan's heart skipped. Not danger this time, information. The station had begun self-repair protocols, restructuring damaged sections, stabilizing weak points. It was responding to him as a partner, not just a user. He realized the true power of human ingenuity, collaboration across species and systems, understanding and adapting in real time rather than brute force. Humans had not inherited the station, they had earned its trust. Ronan smiled faintly, recalling the first moments he had set foot inside. Fear, uncertainty, awe, and determination had blended into a single drive, to survive and protect. The creatures, the station, the alien life forms, all had depended on him and he had not faltered. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment but also anticipation. This was not the end. It was the beginning of humanity's role as a caretaker among the stars. He accessed the communication console, reaching out to human settlements across the sector. News of the station would inspire awe, yes, but also hope. Humanity was small in the galaxy but capable of greatness. Ronan knew that other humans would come, explorers and engineers, diplomats and scientists. They would learn, adapt, and continue the work he had begun. He had proven that courage and intelligence could overcome even the most impossible odds. As he floated back to the containment unit, the creatures pulsed softly in acknowledgement. One orb hovered directly in front of him, brightening until it filled the space with light. Ronan reached out, fingers nearly touching its glowing surface. For a moment he felt an understanding, a bridge across species, time, and technology. It was not words but connection. Humans could forge paths where others had failed. The station hummed gently, alive once more. Ronan's exhaustion faded, replaced by purpose. One human had changed the fate of a forgotten alien station. One human had saved life, proven ingenuity, and inspired a future where humanity could stand as protectors, innovators, and heroes. He looked at Sirian 7 one last time through the viewport. One credit had bought him a station. One human had turned it into a sanctuary. And in doing so, humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through force but through courage, intelligence, and heart. Ronan Vale whispered to himself, a promise and a declaration: we survive. We protect. We endure. And the station pulsed back as if in agreement. The universe had changed because one human refused to give up.